Things I have learned the hard way. Today I'm going to talk about or share with you things that I've learned the hard way. And this is what I'll be talking about. You cannot change people. Know the time when to leave. Assert yourself. Never take your mental health for granted. Create a life for yourself. Don't hold on to anger or bitterness. Not everyone likes you. Most importantly, learn to say no. First, listen to my podcast to learn from my experience. Hello, welcome to another episode of Thy Truth. Finding your truth with Efemena. Hello, welcome to another episode of Thy Truth. Alright, today I'm going to talk about things that I've learned the hard way. Oh my, there's so many things that I've had to learn the hard way. I've learned that people can change only if they want to. I've had the wrong notion about this. I used to think when I was much younger that, the person I was with, I could change him. If I just did things a little bit more like he would like it or he would want it, that would make him change. That would make him see me for me. It had nothing to do with, maybe I didn't have self-love or anything like that. Maybe a little bit. But I always felt like if I could just love him a little bit better the way he would want me to, that would make him change his ways of cheating and all of that. No. You really cannot change people. You can only sometimes lead them to a path where they realize that they probably need a change, and they have to realize it, and they have to work hard at becoming better. So, too bad I learned that the hard way. I also learned that if you feel you have to be careful, tiptoe around others, maybe your relationship or friendships, you have to make sure that you have to tiptoe around them so that they don't leave you. Then that's pretty unhealthy. I've learned that if you have to do that around people you love or care about, then it might be time for you to leave. Because in a mutually respectful relationship, you wouldn't have to be careful about things you say, how you do certain things. Like you're always on your toes around the person or the people. And then no, not healthy at all. It's time for you to leave. I learned that the hard way. I also learned that people will only treat you the way you let them treat you. I think I said this in the last episode. You need to sometimes teach people how to treat you. But if you're not assertive, you don't, let them know that this is a no-no for me. I'm not taking this. If you do this, that's it. You need to be more assertive about what you want, how you want it, how you want to be treated, because some people, like I said before, don't know how to treat you or treat others. And sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes it's their situation or things that they've been through in the past, or their own traumas, they're going through their own issues. but that doesn't mean you have to accept it just because you feel like they're going through whatever they're going through. I feel like you are human, and you can't put your feelings aside for others. As much as it's good to think about other people, you should also not allow people to treat you like trash, pretty much. I've learned that the very hard way. I've learned that you never take your mental health for granted. I feel like we let stress take over our lives. I feel like, no, I'm going to be more specific, more personal. I feel like I let stress take over my life. I just absorbed the whole thing, the whole stressful life and what was going on in my life. And then I turned into the next best thing I felt could help me curb the stress, which was the alcohol. But honestly, I knew it. Deep down, I knew that was not the solution. But if I had just paid more attention to my state, my mental state, my mental health, I think I would be better for it. I remember then I didn't realize what I was going through. I didn't realize that I was actually in a deep end. I would just cry myself to sleep. I would just sit down and start crying. I would be so sad. I would feel so alone. And then I would and sometimes I would just zone out, like I'm just staring and I have no idea. I'm lost. It took me a while to realize that I'm allowing myself spiral into a state where it will take a lot to get out of. So I did the next best thing for myself. I started to help myself by talking some more. I decided to help myself by doing certain activities just to help my mental state, which was, at that point, it was exercising. It was going on runs. I would run in the mornings, in the evenings sometimes. Exercising was a way for me to expel that stressful feeling. And it did help. I will be honest, it did help. So if I've learned anything, is not to take my mental health for granted. Do not take your mental health for granted. I have also learned that I can make changes if I truly want to, and stop blaming others for my problems or my mistakes. I've learned that if I put myself in, I can tell myself, okay, I can do this. I can get away from that comfort zone and make it happen, no matter how my mind is telling me, oh, but if you do that, it will take years, it will take months, it will take forever. No, I have learned that I can do it, no matter how long it would take me. I mean, the years will still go by, right? So why not just do it? I've had to learn that the hard way. And not blame other people for my problems or my mistakes or my situation. I've learned that no matter how much you love your partner or your other half or your other half or your significant other, however you call them, or even your friends, your close friend, you need to have a life. You need to have your own identity outside them. So this is not just about relationships. It could be even in families, even in friendships. It took me a while to understand this, but I remember when I used to center my world, my life around my significant other, and it was all about him. I was basically lost in the process. It felt like I had no identity. Everything I did was about him. That's it. My life was centered around him. But you see, it took me a while to understand that I had to create a life for myself. I had to find my own identity outside my relationship, outside being a mother, outside being a friend, outside being a daughter. I had to be my own person. Believe it or not, it took me 5 friggin' years, 5 years to realize that. I say 5 years because that's when, in that 5 years, I discovered myself. I'm still discovering myself, but I started to get my own identity. I stopped working with him, and then I went into a new line, a new career on my own. Started to do things on my own and started to discover who I was. But trust me, it wasn't so easy. It wasn't a very it wasn't a walk in the park, put it that way. But I learned it the hard way. I learned also that holding on to anger and bitterness will only ruin you. I've seen, not just me, I've seen how it has ruined other people. I've seen how it has affected other people. There was a woman who I lived with, or she lived with me for a while, and I saw how she was so bitter, filled with so much anger against her family, of people around her, and it was sucking her dry. You could clearly see it. She was always, suspicious about everyone. That's not a way to live. Being bitter towards others, being angry, frustrated and all of that, it ruins one. And I have learned that the hard way. I've also learned that no matter how nice you are to others, to some people at least, some of them won't just like you. They just don't like you. And it's not your fault. You don't have to be too hard on yourself. You have tried everything, but they just don't like you. My mantra used to be, or it still is, it's nice to be important, but also important to be nice. Yes. And so I have, I've liked the idea of, or it's not like I even do it like I plan to be nice, but it just comes, and I see someone and I'm just nice to them. And sometimes I used to wonder, I noticed that no matter how, even when I was a young girl in primary school, I would be nice to people and they would just, still be very mean towards me. And I used to wonder, why, what have I done? I'm just, and it's so exhausting having to go out of your way to try to prove to those people and try to make them understand that, hey, I'm just being nice here. Hey, I like you. There's no, why are you being this mean towards me? Why are you mean? What have I done? It took me a while to realize, growing up, even as an adult, that some people is just dealing with their own demons. It's sometimes not about you. So, no matter how nice you are to them, they will not be very, it won't be reciprocated, put it that way. And that's fine. Move on. I've also learned that this one kind of hits home. learning how to say no. I just got this loads and so many examples I can give. The thoughts just came in, and all my life it felt like I've always said yes, even when I want to say no. This is my truth. I've always felt like, if I say no, they might feel bad, it might hurt them, it might not be good for them. But I've learned how to say no to people and to set boundaries and to think about myself. I remember someone calling me up to say, hey, I know this is your calling. You always help people, you make them feel better. So I have this person who she really needs your help. Could you just call her and be there for her? Well, I would love to. But I had to say no for the first time in I can't say in a long time because I haven't really said no a lot until recently. I said no to helping someone, not because I didn't want to help them, because I told the person, my glass is super empty right now. I don't know what I'm going to say or do to that person. It will just take more out of me, and I need to at least get my cup a little bit, it doesn't have to be full, but I need to fill it up a bit, so what am I going to give the person when I'm a mess? I'm a wreck. I can't keep fixing others when I am just a wreck. I need help too. So no, I'm sorry. I learned that the hard way. But hey, I'm still learning. This is thy truth. What's yours? Thank you for listening. Meet you again at another episode of Thy Truth. Finding your truth with Efemena C.